the thing that completely changed my life was taking classes in Ideokinesis from Andre Bernard, who saved my life on a certain level, or saved my motion life. And so what happened was that I found Andre because, I was just completely frustrated by all of these other techniques. But I was injured. It became, I think, probably most clear to me after I left Don, so in the early 80s. And I started looking around for ways to understand my body better. I couldn't really find them, and then I found Andre. After I was injured, I was really scraping around. I was trying to find all of these kind of movement re-education approaches. I guess is one generic way of putting it. Pilates and Alexander technique and Feldenkrais and this and that and the other thing. Pilates and Alexander technique both continued to injure me, and I only found out years later why. Feldenkrais felt good because it tries to return the body to its more infant-based motion patterns. And then I took classes with Andre all the time. And what happened was that what I learned from Andre, which is basically that if you want the body to be healthy, it has to organize itself the way every other species on Earth that has movement in its capability does, which is to learn how to let the body respond to the pull of gravity. By the time I got to Andre, and Andre said, well, you see, Billy, this is what the bones are supposed to do. He never talked about muscles. You don't talk about that in Ideokinesis. And of course, all dancing is built around muscles. Muscle this, muscle that. Dancing is just, for me, a subset of gym. He took the humerus bone, because I went to him one day, I said, Andre, how come I'm hurting so much? I was desperate. And of course, this was my posture. This thing that started in the court of Louis XIV with his dancing masters in the latter part of the 17th century. This thing which was imposed on the human body to appease the king. So what happened was that things started coming together. I'll get to this moment where Andre took those two bones, but basically what he said was, read this, and this, of course, is Mabel Ellsworth Todd's The Thinking Body, written by a woman scientist in 1937, who was the first one to say, standing up straight is full of shit. She said it first, 1937. She said, it's bad for you. 1937. It was from her that Lulu Swigard, started teaching Ideokinesis at Juilliard. Anyway, I'm with Andre. I'm beginning to be aware that man is destroying the environment because it is saying I am above laws like that of gravity. I'm coming into him with a hurt body because I'm now realizing that I am I've been operating anti-gravitationally for years. And he comes up to me and he takes the humerus bone and he takes the scapula at the edge of which, of course, is the shoulder socket. And he says, boom, boom. See that? Boom, boom. See the way that bone fits into that socket? And I went, yeah. And he says, well, you're pulling the bone out of the socket. Here's the socket. Here's the head of the femur, the head of the humerus, doing this. I was doing this, which is what everybody does when they're standing up straight. And my life changed. it was pretty amazing. Because it had nothing to do with what humans want. It had to do with what nature had dictated. For the human animal to survive, once it became upright, starting with Lucy, Australopithecus, the hands had to be able to both snatch and seize in order to eat, and also grab and climb in order to escape from the lions, among other things. Well, the hands can't do that back here. The hands have to do that here, which is why this whole structure of the arm is forward of the body. So Andre tells me this, and I go, OMG. And so starting at that point, which was roughly around 1985-86, I realized that everything I was doing with my body was going to continue causing me injury. It was a dim recognition, but I sort of started getting it. I was paying a lot of attention to this now. I wasn't paying that much attention to what was going on down there, which I think is why I, just said, oh, tap dancing, you're on your toes. Up on your toes, right? And that music was going up when I started studying with Bob, and the cast would study with Bob. So I'm only now dimly realizing, not now, but it happened probably about 10 years ago, I said, oh, on your toes. Oh, tap dancing. Oh, that's why I completely injured my left foot. I started putting these things together. Now, getting up on your toes, of course, is a human locution that kind of expresses what? Joyousness and tap dancing and this and that and the other thing. And, it's built into our vocabulary. Hold your head up high. Get up on your toes. And then you'll be a confident human being. And you'll be able to conquer universes and chakatata wom wom, pa ba 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 ba, da do ga da 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 da. Andre was the one, and he pivoted me. And then I realized that the more you do what the bones want to do in relation to the pull downward of gravity, the more your body settles down. And then I went, oh, how can I use this to teach rhythm to dancers to make them do rhythm more clearly? And I'm just giving you the shorthand of that's what led to standing down straight. So that's why it's at the core of jump rhythm.